Hello there, you're watching Villa Miniatures. In this episode I'm going to paint some miniatures from Cthulhu, Death May Die. We have played quite a lot of the episodes, but so far we have just played with unpainted miniatures. I painted the cultists for this game, the 10 miniatures like these, a little while ago, but so far they are the only one painted for this game. Tonight, however, we are having a friend over to play one of the episodes. So here I have collected all the miniatures we need to play episode 2 from season 2, which is the one we decided to go for. And when you have friends over, it's very embarrassing to play with unpainted miniatures when you are a miniature painter nerd like me. Here I'm just starting out by stippling on some white with a sponge over a zenithal highlight of black, followed by white primer, white from a little bit from above. It's been a couple of weeks since the last time I painted the miniatures, so I'm going to start with one of the smaller minion monsters just to get back to it. So I wanted to be lighter around here, and when I wanted to be lighter, I'm adding some of the contrast medium, just blending it directly on top of the miniature. Then some green, maybe a little bit of brown too, so that it's not like pure green Nurgle guy. I want it to be like smoother than that. Look decent, this transition, but I want a little bit more color, so I'm going to add some red to his tentacle penis. Also the tip of the tail has like a tongue coming out. I'll let it dry and then come back for the hair and fur to make it darker. I think this is a good start. So a bit of the flesh shade together with some contrast medium. That's what I'm using now. Before I let this fleshy sepia monstrosity dry, I'm coming in with some red. It's easier to blend it in when the surface beneath it's still a bit wet, and I can work this up in layers. So all the little mouths and the tentacle tongues. Alright, this is pretty good start, but I think I want a little bit more shadows and colors on this one, so I'm doing a little bit of green in some areas, focusing it on the undersides. Not sure why I have all of these open when I'm not doing the wet blending type technique with all the colors. While waiting for the contrast paints on the bigger guys to dry, I'm going to go over to these monsters, the Night Gaunt and the Flying Polyp. Anyway, it's going to be fleshy gray and less fleshy gray, so I'm going to start with some gray. A bit much maybe, if you ask me, a bit too blue, so let's add some of the flesh tone to it as well. Alright, I'm trying out some of the brown, the snakebite leather, which is very warm brown. Starting with some purple on these guys, even though they're going to be quite gray as the others. I feel like the gray was a bit too hard. So yeah, I tried mixing in some colors with the gray on the others, but it really didn't work. So let's see if this is better to have, not have too much gray in the colors, but fill in gray in between in a way. And then the gray. And some of the dark brown, I think, to have it cover more evenly. We'll have to see when it dries, but it looks like something. I want all of these eyes, or what you can call it, blobs, to be bright red and shiny. And I kind of like how the flesh tier is red. The contrast paints look when it's like an even color, so I'm going to go for that. I need a base which is going to be red. It's a very kind of opaque contrast paint, the one I'm going to use, so hopefully this will work fine. It's also kind of cool just to have them like pure white It's a super contrast, but yeah, I think I'll go with the cover art for these. Oops. While I have the white out, I thought I could work a little bit more on this guy who is starting to become dry. I'm just going to highlight the human, or like the naked parts, you could say, with some white. I wanted to be quite pale and then be like furry with a darker fur and greenish on like the extremities. So I think I'm just going to highlight the center of it, which is also going to be like the area with the most focus. I don't think I'm going to do much highlights on this one. I want it to be very, very dark. So instead I'm still working towards the shadows and making them even darker and colorful. Alright, I'm going back to this guy and I'm starting off with some dry brushing. Kind of want it to be even lighter in some areas, and yeah, usually I water down some white and do some edge highlighting and stippling around, but I don't know, this one it's large. I don't have that many hours to paint actually before games, so instead I'm doing some dry brushing, some very light dry brushing. I'm focusing on the raised areas. I don't mind too much if I get it on the red as well, as I can just boost that up again later. And also if you get some dry brush on the transitions between the skin and like the exposed red areas, it leaves a nice transition. So it's actually a good thing. This thing is very, very, very textured, so it's actually great for dry brushing. And I don't really like where these are heading, so I think I'm going to do the same. Whoa, that's a bit too much. Well, whatever. Dry brush, and then I'm going to reapply some shades to it. Now that I'm going for it, maybe some of these as well, just a little bit. Although I did just add the shadow layer, so I need to be careful not to smudge anything. Now it's time to pick out some teeth, which is going to be a tedious task, but definitely worth it. Although I'm not going to pick out all of them. The ones that are in shadow, or the ones that are hard to reach, I'll just leave them as they are. But the ones that are like in focus areas, focus points, will be good. I want to bring back some of the contrast between the red and pale flesh. So here I just have a bunch of different purple and red washes and contrast paints. I'm going to just mix and match them a little bit to see. I think some of the red contrast paints are a little bit maybe too covering, so having some shade to use in between might be nice. Also to have different areas in different colors, for example this part of flesh right here. It'd be fun if that's a different color than like the next layer, the one that's in here. So I'm doing more purple on this inner part, this stretched part, and then the open kind of gums can be more red. I feel I need more contrast on this one, or darker shadows, so I'm using some of the same green shade as I applied previously to some of the other things, just to break it up a little bit. And I think it always works very well with reds, this one. I'm going to focus this on the underside of the miniature as well, or like the lower half, not the underside, or the underside as well, but in the shadows. This guy still has a lot of fur, beard and hair that I haven't worked on, so think I'm just going to go with the darker brown tone to see. Maybe I have to go even darker than this as well to kind of frame the face. And I'll do the horns dark as well. I want this weird alien skin tone and texture to appear very like black, but still kind of shiny. Kind of like the Alien franchise, Aliens. And yeah, so I'm adding some white highlights here and there just to make them appear very like metallic or shiny. I'm trying to be, I'm trying to do it very sparingly and just hit the tops or the areas where I want to have focus. This is a very covering and very shiny gloss varnish that I like to use. It's from CMON, and I've had this pot for years. I don't think it ever dries out. I think it's like an acrylic based thing, but I'm not sure if it's actually water mixable, so yeah, probably messes up the brushes, but I guess that's fine. I'm really not sure about this, but let's try. So here we have the black contrast paint, the Black Legion as it's called, and it covers very well. So it's very nice black paint actually, but it doesn't show much of what I did before, the white highlights. So I'm thinking about maybe trying to have something show by wiping off the excess. Not sure how much I want to show, because I kind of want it just to be, I don't know, I want it to be black, shiny black creature. And kind of just lit up on one side. I've actually decided just to do this on one side of the creature, which might be a little bit strange. I'm going to paint the other side with black contrast paint as well, but with much more, so that it's, yeah, basically just black on the other side. Okay, let's see if this red works the way I was planning. That's pretty smooth, yeah. The game, or the game board for Cthulhu Death May Die is, a lot of it is indoors and, you know, on rocky caves, and some of it is, yeah, you know, out in the woods and stuff, but it's a lot of different ground, so I think I'm just going with something neutral for the basis, and chose to go with gray. Yeah, so that's extra neutral in a way, and it could also be like some stone floor, even though it's sand textured. The final thing to do was to finish the bases and paint the base rim. I am quite pleased with this blob. I have mixed feelings about the others, but I think they are more than good enough for a game. So now the guest is right around the corner, and I'm ready for a game of Cthulhu Death May Die.